I got some feedback from the casting directors. It was for Thor. And they said, if you just had the craft, if you had the art of acting, that this part was yours and you just didn't have it. And it really put me on my heels. And I took a break from the business for a little bit, and I dove into some work with some really, illustrious teachers in the field, and started studying theater and reading books, and really putting myself through that kind of masterclass phase to understand what that even meant. It begins with fully understanding the scope of the material that we have to pull from, whether that's a script, a scene, a book, a series of books, a comic book, whatever it is. Are we studying a period piece that takes place in the Upper East Side in 1965? What does that period represent for us politically, spiritually, theologically? On an emotional, socioeconomic level for that character? We really have to understand all that's going on. So, we absorb that material and then start to absorb the canon around that material, the history. We should know a little something about everything when we approach these characters, so that we can really understand where they fit in this slice of history. I mean, imagine if we're approaching a character that's just post-World War II era in the United States. There's something on the zeitgeist there, in the psychology of that person, that we may not fully understand unless we really know the history of where they just came from, right? I mean, so whatever it is, we should be drinking in as much information as possible. Once that happens, then we start to digest what's on the page. We approach from a technical standpoint, scene work, and start to understand the arcs, the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows of the character. It means the midpoint is always going to be this treacherous low where we feel like we've lost everything, and then our hero has to climb out of this hole until they finally succeed and triumph over whatever it is, right? We need to know what that looks like, for the script as a whole, for our character as well. Once we do all that, we can get to the fun part, which for me is bringing the imagination into it. Can I imagine all of the scenarios that this character is going to be experiencing? Can I imagine the before a scene happens, the after a scene happens, the stuff that isn't on the page, but that tells the story that we need to tell? Like, what is that character's journey? Can we process all of this information through our head and just enjoy playing in there and seeing what comes to life?